So if you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, in there, my rich dad always said, never say, I can't afford it. My poor dad, my PhD father, he always said to me, he says, I'd be a rich man if I didn't have you kids. And the more he said that, the angrier I got. So when I met my rich dad at age 9, he says, well, that's why your old man's poor, because he's lazy. He thinks his PhD is going to carry him. He says, everybody can say, I don't have money, I can't afford it. He says, that's why he's poor. He's lazy.
Robert Kiyosaki's bold statement, lazy people use their own money, that's why they are poor, challenges conventional notions of wealth creation and financial success. In this thought-provoking assertion, the renowned financial educator and author prompts a reevaluation of the traditional mindset around money management. Kiyosaki's perspective underscores the importance of leveraging assets, opportunities, and alternative strategies rather than solely relying on personal funds, advocating for a more strategic and resourceful approach to wealth building.
It was a long time ago. I first started Millennial Money. I made my usual wise-ass remark, only lazy people use their own money. And that's because I have spent much of my life raising capital. Today you have crowdfunding and all that stuff. But the reason I had to learn to raise money was because I had no money. And so if you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, in there, my rich dad always said, never say, I can't afford it. And it was my rich dad and many of my teachers subsequent to that. They said, lazy people always say, I can't afford it. I don't have the money. That's why they're poor. They have a poor mindset. So instead of figuring out how to raise money, it's just really easy to be a loser. And I call it losers. It pisses them off. Because we all have the power, if we wanted to not be poor if we learned how to raise money. So I hear, and the reason I get upset, I still get hot. My poor dad, my PhD father, he always said to me, he says, I'd be a rich man if I didn't have you kids. And I said, well, Dad, it's not my fault you had kids. I just can't afford it because I have kids. And the more he said that, the angrier I got. So when I met my rich dad at age 9, he says, well, that's why your old man's poor, because he's lazy. He thinks his PhD is going to carry him. He says, everybody can say, I don't have money, I can't afford it. He says, that's why he's poor. He's lazy. But my father kept going back to school, Stanford, University of Chicago, Northwestern. He never learned any of this stuff. They still don't know it because most teachers want a paycheck, pension, and tenure. They want job security. So the mindset is different, and that's what they teach the kids. So the reason I say only lazy people use their own money is because it takes much more intelligence to raise capital. And so I've never been able, ever since my rich dad, as a little boy, my rich dad forbade me from ever saying, I can't afford it. He says, figure out how you can afford it. How can you do something? Figure out how you can do something. So over my lifetime, most of the projects I've started, I've never had any money. I like not having money because it forces me to think. I get creative. I have to educate myself. I have to talk to rich guys. Hey, how'd you do this? How'd you do that? How'd you do that? And what has happened to me, I just turned 72, I've never needed money. Because if I need money, I figure out how to raise it. So today you guys have crowdfunding and all that. I don't know what that stuff is. But it's easy to say I can't afford it. All the poor people say I can't afford it. All the poor people say, well, let's tax the rich. All the poor people are saying, well, give me a free education, free food, free schooling, free manicures, free pedicures. There's laziness, my opinion. Only lazy people use their own money. And that's what really pissed off a lot of people out there. Because, you calling me lazy? I said, yes, I am. Because you're the same type of person who will say, I can't afford it. I can't do that. That's the problem. It's up here. It's the real estate between this ear and that ear. I can't do that. Most of my family say, well, I can't afford it. My father taught me to say that. My mother taught me to say that. My rich dad said never say that. But it goes back to the original question, why did I say only lazy people use their own money? Because lazy people always say, I can't afford it. I can't do it. It's easy to say that. And that's why they're poor. It's harder to go raise $1 million than to say I can't afford it.
Robert Kiyosaki's assertion that lazy people use their own money, that's why they are poor, provokes a critical examination of the relationship between work ethic, resourcefulness, and financial success. By encouraging individuals to transcend the limitations of relying solely on personal funds, Kiyosaki advocates for a paradigm shift towards leveraging assets, opportunities, and creative strategies. This perspective underscores the significance of adopting a proactive and strategic approach to wealth creation, highlighting that true financial empowerment often stems from the ability to utilize resources effectively, rather than solely depending on one's own capital. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and see you in our next video.